Hey, hey, my magical friends. Welcome to another Witchful Ways podcast episode. I am Annika, offering you the insight, guidance, tools, and an amazing membership to allow you to live a magical life every single day. So, I missed Monday's deadline for podcast because, it's the holiday season and things get crazy really quickly. So it is December 1st today. And it's crazy to me that it's already December 1st. We're moving out of one year and into another new year already. It seems like we just got into this year. So I want to take a minute to talk about moving from one year into the next. And I want to talk about starting a spiritual journey, a spiritual awakening, and what that means for you, because a lot of people make resolutions and things that they want to do and learn and achieve and receive in the new year. And I think if you're being called on a spiritual journey or a spiritual awakening, sometimes we're not sure what that means, right? Now, you guys know that I offer, again, the amazing membership, the Circle Magical Community membership, which is amazing to be able to learn things. I base my practice on manifesting using my steps of magic, magick, right? Manifesting with magic. Using candle magic tends to be my go-to modality for spell casting. And then working with your spiritual team to be able to have them working for you on the other side, and for you to be able to learn the signs and messages that your spirit team is giving you so that you know that you're on the right track, not only in life, but in what you're manifesting as well. So a lot of that starts with a spiritual awakening, with a spiritual journey, right? And it can feel overwhelming with all the different advice that's out there. But I want you to know that and remind you that you are always being led to the next thing intuitively. We're connected to our intuition. We're born with our intuition. We actually run through our life using our intuition. Whether or not we recognize that's what it is and whether or not we learn to tune into it and live with it and by it is a totally different story. But we're always being led to the next thing intuitively. So you are more of an ancient pro in your following your intuition than you realize. The fact that you're being pulled to learn and to explore, it means that you're aware, that you're listening, that you're ready, that you're interested, right? You want to dive in. You want the connection that it all brings you. And one of the things that I've really come to know is that your impulses and your gut instincts and all that kind of stuff, they're not random. It's all inspired in some way by your intuition, by your higher self. So I want to talk about how to follow that guidance and what to expect when you start actively uncovering you, right? Your connection to universe, your connection to your ultimate truth. So what is a spiritual journey? Well, it's simply an ongoing experience of uncovering and remembering who you really are on a soul level, right? It's never ending. It's an expansion of all the things that you are. It's a never ending love story between yourself and your higher self. And you're always on a spiritual journey, whether you realize it or not. A stripper is just as much on a spiritual journey as a priest, right? Their souls, their selves, their spirits, they're just experimenting with different challenges and themes. And the one thing that I have learned personally through my spiritual journey and my life is that it's all spiritual. So how you choose to go about discovering your truth is your choice and no one else's. You have the ability to explore the beliefs that you want to believe, to look at the books maybe that you want to read, the ways that you choose to experiment with your practice and your intuition, connecting with yourself, your higher self. These are all going to be things that are unique to you. And that's why I always say it's never cookie cutter. And that's why in the membership, we come together and go, okay, how is this working? Let's exchange ideas, right? You learn from other people and their experiences, but that doesn't mean that it's cookie cutter for you. So you can read all the books and you can learn all the things, but until you start doing and realizing how you connect to it and realizing the processes that you can use to connect yourself to the all, to the things, then you're just kind of in a learning stage. right? You're just an information gatherer. You're not really on a journey. You're just sitting there gathering information. So you get to connect with it all for you and learn it for you. But it's still amazing to be able to have all the information, even though it can be overwhelming, but all the information available to you to be able to learn and go, yeah, that works for me. I feel that. Or nope, that's totally out of my scope and that's just stupid in my opinion, and I'd never do that or connect with that or align with that, right? And I mention that for a few reasons, because no one knows your path that's best for you except for you. And there isn't anyone out there that has the whole answer. You have a piece of the puzzle. I have a piece of the puzzle. Everybody has a piece of a puzzle. And when you know how to listen, everybody can be a teacher. And that's amazing. So how do you know when you're spiritually awakened then, right? And my opinion is that no human is ever fully spiritually awakened. Kind of like when you're in school and you're in junior high school or middle school or whatever it's called. Now it was junior high school back in my day, but middle school, and you're talking about, right, like how far you've gone in kissing and stuff like that. And everyone assumes that everyone else is so experienced and so ahead of them. But then when you grow up, you realize that everyone was just trying to find their way, just like you were. You're always in a state of spiritual awakening. You might go back to sleep for a little bit, wake up for a little bit, hit the snooze button, doze off again, and repeat, right? And there's everybody walks the path and wanes from the path and comes back to the path, right? There's a lot of people that are never 100% dedicated 100% of the time. Or 100% dedicated 100% of the time to one particular focus, right? We move, we wane, we kind of go off on little side trips from the highway, stop at the, biggest ball of twine to see what it's all about. And then we move back onto our highway. So I don't know that there's ever one huge moment where you're now like, quote unquote, spiritually awakened. But there is such a thing as coming into yourself or waking up from the stories that we tell ourselves. And each of us tell other people that's really a stage of illusion. A big chunk of your youth is spent anchoring into that reality and going through experiences that's going to shape and prepare you for spiritually awakening as you get older. Right? We learn from the past, our experiences from the past, and then we can, hindsight's always 20/20, right? We can look back and go, yep, should have seen that coming. I had all the signs, but I didn't recognize it, or I didn't act upon it. I should have done it. I knew it. I should have done it, but I didn't. And there are a lot of times that we are living by beliefs that are really stories somebody else has told us. And this goes into, if you have my Discover Your Intuition course, like this goes into digging into the shadow self, learning how to recognize that the shame, the guilt, the resentment, the, regret, remorse, all those things are just illusions. They're things that you're carrying for yourself. Nobody put those on you. You decided to pick those up and carry them. So you're going to be able to release those. The experiences in your life have been, by no mistake, paths to allow you to be in the major portion of the plan for your eventual waking back up to the truth down the road. Stepping into your true personal power. So how do you begin a spiritual journey? Let me tell you about 4 things that I believe that you kind of work through when you're starting your spiritual journey. It requires some quiet reflection to get personalized answers for yourself, for your spiritual journey and awakening, right? It's always you do you, witchy poo. So the first thing is to reflect. So typically when you start out on your journey, it's because you're at a point in your life where you're ready for change. You might be tired of the drama or people pleasing or being broke or attracting partners that aren't right for you or whatever it is, right? And something that happens becomes a catalyst for you. It's likely some form of pattern that you've been entangled with your whole life. And in some way or another, you are just freaking over it. For a lot of people, it's hitting a rock bottom, and especially a financial rock bottom. And it's realizing that when you're hitting those rock bottoms in things and things are happening, it's a lack mindset. It's thinking in the thought process of scarcity, of lacking something. And when you start thinking of it in one way, so for example, if you hit a financial rock bottom, right? Like you're bankrupt and whatever, and it hits you in a way that you finally recognize that it's not, your lack mindset is not only affecting your financial cash flow. So then you start learning things, right? Learning about maybe the law of attraction, and something like that starts it all. Right? So you hit a rock bottom. You needed to figure out something on a financial aspect. So now you go and you're like, okay, how do I bring more cash in? What do I do? Oh, look, here's the law of attraction thing. So I'm going to start using these manifesting things. Or maybe it's my manifesting and magic, right? Whatever it is. But that starts it all. You learn how to use what wasn't going right in your life to help you to manifest what you do want to experience in your life. So think about where you currently are and start feeling into the direction that you want to start moving in. This helps so much when tapping into your inner guidance, to your intuition. Since everything is for you, you can begin to see that even the contrast of where you are now, it's there to push you towards the opposite. So here's some journaling prompts that can help you feel the direction that's most desirable for you currently. One is how I'm currently feeling about my life. 2 is what's happening that I don't enjoy. 3 is how I want to start feeling. And 4 is what I want to start experiencing. And if you're in the Magical Circle membership, there is a year in review guide that is fantastic for you to go through. It's in your guides and it's in your December information. So the second is follow the crumb trail. Starting where you are now, begin to follow those crumbs. There may be a topic that you want to learn more about, or maybe, I don't know, a podcast that's intriguing you to listen to. But whatever it is, allow yourself to freely consume it without worrying if it's right for you, if it's the right place, if it's where you should be or not. Whether it's lighting you up with interest or with curiosity, that's where you should be. Now, you can't learn all the things, right, in one lifetime. And it really wouldn't be much fun if you did learn all the things, right? There's so many different things out there. You can't learn all the things, but begin to study certain things that really light your fire, that really you feel drawn to. And those are going to match your higher intentions from a soul level. That's why no one's journey can look the same, because we're all playing Marco Polo with our souls and being called in different directions, right? So don't stress yourself about worrying that you need to learn all there is to know spiritually, because you already know all of it anyway on a soul level. You're here to experience, to explore, and to expand from a vantage point of this present personality that you currently know as yourself. So begin to trust your excitement in that interest. It's always connected to being a pulling from your intuition, right? From your higher self, of something that you want to learn and explore. So start with what you find yourself most interested in and learning, and then keep following that pattern. And that subject, that pattern, is going to change and morph with you through your lifetime as well. Your interests change, your passions change. Right? So you might start out with a law of attraction, but then go into self-care and divination and shadow work and reincarnation and self-healing and then meditation, and maybe end up in numerology. That's my 2022. Right? My thing is I've never really dove into numerology, but this year I have realized that I'm very aware of and intrigued by the number sequences that I continuously see. So I'm going to dive into that, right? So you go where your passion is. So there are a lot of different resources that are available for learning. When you're driving, when you're cleaning, when you're cooking, when you're exercising, when you're showering, you can easily devour knowledge on all subjects that fascinate you. Podcasts, YouTube, Audible, right? Any online courses like Udemy, my online courses, but whatever you decide to work with, right? If you're looking for information, there's a plethora of it out there. A lot of it is free, right? Or very inexpensive. You can use different apps as well, right? We're in an age of technology, so use the different apps. There's time passages for astrology. There's Audible for books. There's Scribed for books. I love Scribed. There's Beatfulness, which is a really good app for beats for meditation, but I think that's only on Apple right now. There is streaming services like Gaia on Netflix that has spiritual content. You can go through, right? Books galore online. So many resources for learning. Create a folder on your phone or for your spiritual apps. Keep it in the front so you remember to utilize them. Keep it organized for yourself, because otherwise it just becomes this plethora of overwhelm again. And in fact, somebody told me once to create my own Gmail account that is learning.annikarogue@gmail.com, right? Or whatever your name is or whatever you decide to do. And that is where you sign up for all those freebies, right? It goes in there. Because that way you can organize them and tag them, and it doesn't get mixed up in your daily stuff and you don't feel the overwhelm. You know that that's your learning folder. So the last thing is to get curious and take a higher perspective. So one of the best ways to understand spiritual concepts is by practicing becoming a witness and an observer of life. Rather than choosing to experience knee-jerk reactions all the time, try to step back and see everything from a higher perspective. Those of you that are with me in my courses and membership know that I talk about the difference of reactions to responses all the time, right? You take the moment to analyze, to bring it in, to discover, and then you respond to it. Reactions come from a primal emotional response. So some spiritual truths that I have discovered along my journey are these. The universe is based in love, absolute love. Everything else is just confusion. There are no victims or mistakes. Every experience holds purpose behind the scenes of it all, right? There's a lesson in the experience. So with those two thoughts always in the back of my mind, I observe life and notice how much lighter things feel. If I'm angry or fearful, I can investigate from a place of curiosity as opposed to feeling like a victim, right? Or like something's out to get me. And I know that can be a tough concept for a lot of people because it's human perspective. It feels like blaming ourselves for others, right? That's just how we work. And it's kind of like a stage play. We play out certain scenarios because we know it's just acting. And when the curtain falls, we're all friends who continue in the higher awareness of who we really are. So if you start to look at life that way, things become so much clearer, things become so much easier, things begin to flow for you. And can you see how you'd want to play out different experiences in each lifetime for the expansion and awareness of what it would bring you as well? So how others would be also doing the same. So no matter how it looks from our limited perspective, we're all working at a higher purpose and all based out of love. Some events are for personal evolution, maybe collective consciousness, right? Whatever they may be. So start practicing coming out of that limited human perspective and take it in from a higher vantage point. What are the positives that come out of a hard experience? What could be the invitation or the lesson or the little, bit of wisdom that's in there? If everything is love, where are you resisting or attaching? So if we think about in this lifetime, in this universe, there's no such thing as a mistake. There's also then no such thing as punishment. What does that mean? It means that everything that's happened to you is not an accident, and everything that happens to you has come to benefit you in some way. The key to understanding that is to deliberately look through your human perspective, right? Your ego illusion for that benefit. So that's not saying that we allow for monstrosities to occur right underneath our noses by any means. But it is saying that there's always order to it, and that order originates from love. So your physical experience is an illusion of your own making for the purpose of expansion, right? We're co-creating our reality. So that means there are no victims, no random diagnoses or accidents, and no mistakes. So start to look deeper. Start to look from a different perspective. What are you being called to investigate in your life? What are you being called to look at in your beliefs or reevaluate in your beliefs? Wherever you hold resistance is exactly where you intend to dig into on a soul level. So don't be afraid to do so. And lastly, another spiritual truth that I know without a doubt is that you are so much more incredible than you likely believe yourself to be. You are so much more powerful than you give yourself credit for. And the more that you learn about yourself and discover the inner workings of why do I feel this way? What do I feel connected to? How do I connect with my intuition, and learning to lean into leading your life with your intuition, you're going to step into an ease and flow and just a manifesting dream. So don't be afraid to dig in and to start your spiritual journey, whatever that means to you. And don't feel bad about setting down something that you thought you were so passionate about to move on to something else that is being called to you right in the here and now, because that's exactly then where you should be looking. So I also want to let you know that if you go on to witchfulways.com, you can go ahead and get my Witchful Ways bundle, which gives you 7 or 8 free guides, a downloadable and printable tarot deck for you to start divination with if you'd like to, and 7 of my free mini classes, video classes. Maybe it's somewhere between 5 and 7. So go check that out, witchfulways.com. It'll be right in the middle. Thank you for listening to another podcast episode. We will see you next week. Have a wonderfully magical rest of your day.